Hi everyone, my name is Braylon and I wanted to sit down with you today to talk to you a bit about Jupiter retrograde. So I have my little planet here, Jupiter. This is going to be helping us really tap into these energies and the different meanings to what this may be having an effect on our lives like. What is this going to do? What is the Jupiter retrograde? What can we, look forward to? What will be some of the challenges? All of that kind of stuff, okay? So I have Jupiter here with us. I love holding this little planet. Jupiter is our largest planet. So I have all the little planets minus Pluto, of course. And Jupiter is a really, really decent size. Like these planets do a really good job at showing the different sizes. I have little itty bitty Mercury and little medium Venus, and Jupiter is definitely a holdable planet. He is large and in charge. So I just wanted to sit down today, guys, and kind of give my interpretation of, what I think this transit is going to bring to our lives. I thought it was very interesting that Jupiter is going retrograde. He went retrograde on March 8th, but it was pretty late March 8th. I believe it was like around 8 p.m. California time. And I live in Michigan, so for Michigan, I believe it was around 11 or so. I'm not sure, but I know that Jupiter went retrograde yesterday, and he is retrograde right now. So, I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys. I have a few notes here just, to keep myself guided. And I also have a few things that I just like to channel and things that I would just like to incorporate in my reading. So, Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter is our largest planet, you guys, in our solar system. And Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius and the co-ruler of Pisces. Let's see here. Jupiter is known as the king of the gods, and Jupiter rules our higher mind, you guys. So when I think of Jupiter, I definitely think more Sagittarius. I think most Pisces are very Neptunian. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, and very anciently, they call Jupiter the ancient ruler of Pisces. So long ago, Jupiter was considered the ruler of Pisces as well, the co-ruler. So what do Pisces and Sagittarius have in common? Well, they square each other on the zodiac wheel back here. Pisces and Sagittarius make this kind of 90-degree angle, I believe, but they square each other. So that's an interesting aspect there. And the one thing that Jupiter and that Pisces and Sagittarius have in common is our belief in things, right? The only difference really is that, of course, Sagittarius is a fire sign, Pisces is a water sign. But Sagittarius, they're all about the expansion of sight. That's why I think more Sagittarius when I think Jupiter, because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Sagittarius is the ninth house of philosophy, so it's all about taking this kind of philosophical approach to life, towards our beliefs, towards what we can gain higher knowledge towards, right? And then, of course, a lot of astrologers mention how Jupiter is the planet of luck and Jupiter is the planet of good fortune. And just personally, I believe that Jupiter is associated with luck and good fortune because this is an optimistic planet. This is a planet that has a relatively good energy, just like Sagittarius. Sagittarius is always energetic. They're always kind of this energetically hopeful kind of individuals, right? So Jupiter kind of takes on that same energy. It has a very positive vibe to it. So it's all about, our faiths and our beliefs. Now, this planet has gone retrograde. So some of you may not know what retrograde means. Now, when I first started studying astrology, one of the first planets that I realized went retrograde was, of course, Mercury, which we have going retrograde in a couple weeks on the 22nd. So Mercury is one of those planets that go retrograde most. It goes retrograde at 4 times a year or something like that. And then we have Jupiter, and I just read this last night while I was studying about this. Jupiter goes retrograde every 3 years, I want to say, or no, not 3 years. It was like 13 months or 19 months, something like that. So I'm like, wow, Jupiter goes retrograde like not too often, but the whole act, guys, of this retrograde, the very word retro means to move backwards, right? Have you ever heard someone say we have to look at this in retrospection or look at this in retrospect? Well, what that means is that you want to look at this a series of past events. So when a planet moves retrograde, what it essentially is doing is it's planets have their own natural orbits, and they orbit and they orbit and they orbit, but sometimes a planet begins to slow down until it's actually at a halt. And when this planet halts, well, to the human eye, it seems as if this planet is moving backwards, right? And astrologers have that debatable. They say that Mercury doesn't really move backwards, it just appears to be moving backwards. But the energy that the planet is giving off is a very retro, past movement, slowing down. Let's take a minute here. So Jupiter is essentially slowing down in the sky, and it is coming to a halt. Instead of it moving forward and going on its natural course of action, it's slowing down. And I'm looking at this as in an energetic way. Like, wow, I feel like it's so interesting that these planets kind of slow down, and kind of stop moving. And you got to think why that is. And when this happens in astrology, at least for me, I like to think about what that planet means and what that planet is doing in the sky, where that planet is in our chart, right? Where that planet is doing this certain thing at in our life, because then we could have a better understanding as of how this is going to affect us. So just in general here in the intro video, I wanted to talk a little bit about Jupiter and what I think Jupiter means and what I think it means for Jupiter to be going retrograde. And then I wanted to talk to you guys individually, each of the 12 signs, real quickly. Just, I'm hoping that it can be about 10 minutes of conversation, so that all together these can be about 30 minutes or so. Yeah, I just wanted to take a look at collectively where this energy is going to be happening. Now, Jupiter is going retrograde in the sign of Scorpio. So, of course, all the Scorpios watching, that means that Jupiter is going retrograde in your first house of self. So Scorpios are kind of experiencing this firsthand. And then we have Sagittarius that's experiencing this in their 12th house, and then we have Pisces who's experiencing this in their 9th house. So all these different energies are going to play out in different unique ways for all of us. But this is significant, guys. Very, very significant for this to be happening. It's interesting to me that the planets have all been direct for about 3 months. A lot of the astrologers that I watch have been talking about that, how they really don't have any knowledge or memory of the planets being direct for this long of a time. So we had a good chunk of time for all these energies to be forward moving, and I do hope that all of us took advantage of that. I hope that we, took those energies and used those influences to really drive us and to move us forward, because now we have some planets kind of moving backwards, and this does affect our lives, guys. So Jupiter is the first retrograde of 2018, making it very interesting. It's like all this light is being shed on Jupiter until Mercury joins the retrograde energy on the 22nd. Now, Jupiter is more of a higher octave. It's interesting that Gemini is opposite of Sagittarius, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So Gemini and Sagittarius are opposites because we have this whole third house and this 9th house energy. Now, the third house is the lower mind, right? We think of communication. So Mercury rules the lower mind, kind of. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So I just thought it was interesting that no matter what way you look at it, Mercury is opposite this very, this belief energy, right? Virgo is opposite Pisces, which is the co-ruler of Sagittarius, of Jupiter. So Gemini is opposite of Jupiter, Virgo is opposite of Jupiter. So whatever way you look at it, Mercury is kind of the opposite shadow energy of Jupiter. And I think that's because Mercury controls more of the thoughts and communication, kind of the lower mind, the mind that we're used to operating at, but then there's an ascension that happens, right? That's a very Jupiter word, ascension. Because to ascend is to essentially expand, right? And Jupiter is all about that. So when you gain higher knowledge, when Mercury kind of takes steroids, it becomes this Jupiterian figure. And Jupiter is all about, philosophy. It's all about getting to the deeper meaning of things. It's all about our beliefs. Now, our beliefs, that's a different area of our chart, right? It's the 9th house. Jupiter rules the 9th house of our beliefs, of higher education, wisdom, all of these words that mean to simply expand your knowledge, right? Jupiter is all about the higher mind. Mercury is the lower mind. Jupiter is the higher mind. So at the end of this month, you guys, we're going to have our higher mind and our lower mind together, not in the same house or anything, but they're going to be retrograding back into the past. Now, one of the things that I was led to write down when I was kind of taking notes and getting into this kind of Jupiter feel is Back to the Future. Now, I have not watched Back to the Future as thoroughly as I should, but I'm actually planning on doing so. I think all of us should kind of, even those of you who are kind of from the older generation who really know Back to the Future, and if I did, I would probably incorporate that a lot here in this kind of video, but I know enough about Back to the Future, and just saying that kind of is interesting, like Back to the Future, like that's kind of moving forward and backwards at the same time, going back to the future. So I don't know why I was led to say that or led to write that down here, but I think this Jupiter retrograde is going to have a lot to do with going back to the future. So very, very oxymoron there, guys, and it just shows you how expansive Jupiter really is. Jupiter is this planet. Anything that Jupiter touches, it expands, right? It expands it. So Jupiter going retrograde is kind of, I feel that it is expanding our past in different areas of our life. This is Jupiter's way of kind of saying, okay, guys, so Saturn and Sagittarius since 2000, Saturn was in Sagittarius, I do believe, from 2014 to 2018, I believe. But for the last 3 years or so, guys, we had Saturn in Sagittarius, and this energy is kind of being brought back up because Saturn left Scorpio in 2000. Well, it was in Scorpio 2012, and then it entered Sagittarius. So that energy, I believe, is being brought back up here because I believe during the last 3 years of our life, we had a lot of karmic beliefs form. We had a lot of karmic knowledge. We gained a lot of karmic wisdom. And what I mean by that is that it was just simply on our karmic path to learn these things. I believe that Saturn in Sagittarius definitely aligned us with some of the beliefs that we were actually karmically meant to align with, right? So here comes Jupiter, the ruling planet of all this energy. And I believe that when Jupiter slows down like this, that it's really a test on our faith. Okay, we didn't realize that, right? As humans, we just so effortlessly, well, it's not always effortlessly, but if you think about what it is that you believe, right? What it is that you really believe. Now, what does it even mean to believe in something? Well, to me, when I was kind of reflecting on this energy, it means to have faith in something. It means to, and Jupiter is the planet of sight. Sagittarius is the house of sight. Seeing is believing, right? But then Pisces is ruled by Jupiter because that's the energy. When you get to the 12th house, it's not about seeing. It's not about seeing, it's feeling. So I think beliefs kind of mix those two energies together. Sag and Pisces, science and spirituality. All of these things are kind of being touched on here with this Jupiter retrograde because Jupiter wants to know why we believe in the things that we believe in and if these are authentic beliefs. And it's good. It's good for our belief systems to be checked like this because, like I said, for some of us, it's so effortless. Some of our beliefs have been taught to us. Some of our beliefs have been forced on us. Some of our beliefs, and a good example of this, guys, is that some of us are actually walking around with the belief that we are less than what we are. With the belief, sometimes there's false beliefs, right? So a false belief is another thing that comes up here. It's time for us to look at these energies in retrospection. Why do I believe what I believe? What has caused me to believe these things? So our foundation, the foundation of our beliefs are being refined. They're being looked at in a greater way. Jupiter is kind of disappearing a little bit, guys. I kind of felt the need to say when I woke up today, where is Jupiter? And what I was going to say to you guys is that we so effortlessly, we go through lives and we're like these human sponges. We learn, just like a philosopher. Just like Jupiter, where life is an adventure that we're studying. It's a science project. This is kind of an experiment, you know what I mean? And so during those experiments, when you're writing these notes and you mix this with this and, oh, you had an explosion, let me write that down. Well, your beliefs are kind of shaped and formed around these ideas, around these, the evidence that you have, right? And so it really brings the question to me, should evidence and beliefs go in the same department? Now, when you're talking about the ninth house, yes, sure. When you're speaking in a scientific term, scientists are all about proving things. But here's the thing. When you really, truly believe in something, do you need proof? So I have a post that every time the planets do something major, like Mercury retrogrades, new moons, full moons, and of course Jupiter retrograde, I had to post, a little bit. I like to keep my friends and peers, like online peers, updated. My social media is used for mainly astrology and enlightenment and positive reinforcement, things like that. I like to use that as a platform, to kind of spread positive energy and stuff like that. So, on my post on Instagram and on my post on Facebook, I was talking about Jupiter, I usually just channel these things. I usually just pick up my phone and I'm typing out whatever messages come to me. I kind of channel it. I do a little bit of studying here and there. And it's interesting that I say that because Jupiter involves both of those things. Beliefs involve both of those things. A little bit of studying, a little bit of experimenting, but then sometimes it's just a feeling that you have. Hello, Pisces. Hello, Sag. Pisces and Sagittarius together, man, is there magic that happens when they come together, because you have literally Jupiter together. You have Pisces, you have the ninth house and the 12th house. Between when you travel around the zodiac wheel from Sagittarius season to Pisces season, you are, little do you know, you are developing a strong belief in something, in yourself, in your foundation, in your emotion, in your lifestyle, wherever this energy is hitting for you. I believe what takes place between the ninth house and the 12th house is a very obscene amount of faith and belief. You move from seeing and sight to feeling and emotion. So it's just really, really interesting to talk about all this. And another thing is that, back to what I was saying about the poster, whatever, a lot of questions came up. Like, one of the questions I put was, why is it that we need to see where we're going before leaving? You ever think about that? Why is it that we need to see? And then it reminds me of that Martin Luther King quote. Belief, well, I think he said having faith is taking that first step without seeing the rest of the staircase. So if you really want to just use that as a metaphor, like think of yourself, and this is another thing. I've always used that analogy myself too. He was a Capricorn, Martin Luther King. So, which means Sagittarius, it was his 12th house. Interesting. But when I think about beliefs, when I think about having faith in something, I always picture this ladder in my head. I picture this old wooden ladder that's been out in somebody's shed for a long time. And, one day they just, they need a ladder for something. So they're like, I got a ladder out back, And they see this, they come face to face with this ladder. And, their belief in it, their trust in it, is a little bit shaky, so what do? It's kind of like jumping into water, right? You don't trust that you're afraid, right? So essentially belief is the opposite of fear. Belief is having hope and trust and faith in something, right? So when you break these energies down, it's like, I believe in you. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's like, I have faith in you. That's what it means. When you hear that, or when someone says, I believe in you, or when they say, I don't believe that, I don't believe that to be true. Well, it means that you don't think it's true. You don't have faith that that's true. So I think beliefs and faith go hand in hand, and I think the opposite of belief is doubt. I think the opposite of belief is fear. Fears and doubts, they go right together. What we fear is what we doubt. Sometimes we doubt that we fear things. Sometimes we doubt we're fearing things because we have doubts in them, okay? So this is what's coming up, guys. This is what this Jupiter retrograde is all about, I think. I believe, when the planet is moving forward, what they symbolize is what they symbolize: expansion, higher knowledge, philosophy, the higher mind, wisdom, education, educating yourself, luck, good fortune, whatever. So when we take that meaning and move it backwards, I don't want to say that it means the opposite, because I kind of think about tarot when and I don't do reversal cards often, but let's use the Hanged Man, right? And that's an awful one to use because he's already upside down, but the Hanged Man up right side up means enlightenment. It means looking at something from a different point of view. All right, I should have used like a more extreme card, right? But that one just came to mind for some reason. And I think that's a Neptune card. But if you turn that meaning around, it means maybe not looking at something from a different way. Maybe the extreme need to look at something from a different way. Maybe it means that you're no longer suspended on an idea. So anyway, my point is that when I sit and think about these energies, just as my own I'm kind of a novice astrologer, right? And not really. Like, I love astrology. I've been studying it for a year now. but there's more to learn. And I go off of what I feel. I like to channel things. That's where I get all my information. Of course I study a little bit, but sometimes I just have this higher knowledge. I have Jupiter in Sagittarius, so that's in my 12th house. So I'm all about belief. I'm all about learning more. And Jupiter, I did read that Jupiter is how we're going to be of service, how we want to help other people, because it's the expansion planet. So wherever Jupiter is in your chart, it's essentially expanding. So for me, no wonder I'm doing this channel and doing tarot cards, because my 12th house and my 11th house are expanded, right? So spiritual friends are especially good for me, and I hope that that's what expands in my life. But go backing up a little bit. Speaking of backing up, thank you, universe. I kind of forgot my thought there, but we were literally talking about backing up. So, and we were talking about the reverse tarot cards and stuff like that. So to me, I think of what Jupiter means moving forward. Jupiter is a very expansive, higher knowledge type of thing. So when we say Jupiter is slowing down in the sky and Jupiter is moving backwards, well, I don't think it means the opposite of what Jupiter traditionally means. So it doesn't mean bad luck. A lot of people think, oh, well, Jupiter means good luck and good fortune. So, oh no, Jupiter's going retrograde. We're going to have bad luck. We're not going to have any good fortune. I don't believe that. I believe that that could be true for those who manifest that for themselves. But I'm really feeling strange. I don't think Jupiter's that simple. Sure, it may mean that we have to try harder. It may mean that you won't find 20 bucks on the ground tomorrow. It may mean that you have to do something to align yourself. So I think luck is going to be, it's almost like Jupiter. I don't mean to, Jupiter, I hope you're okay with this, but I kind of just seen a fairy in my head. A little fairy godmother that's all, and it's so interesting. I have a little crown right here that I'm looking at as I say that. So Jupiter is like this fairy godmother of luck, right? It's magic. Jupiter is magic. Jupiter is the sight. It's all like this. It's very wise planet, okay? Very, very wise planet. And for Jupiter to be moving retrograde, it means that his influence is not as strong. And it's not because Jupiter is weaker or anything. It means that the influence needs to be taken back a few steps. I think that Jupiter has been straightforward and online for so long, and we had that long period of Sagittarius having Saturn in their sign, so everything was karmic, and our luck and all of that, our good fortune was very karmically bound. So I don't think that Saturn was too comfortable within a Jupiter ruled house, because Saturn and Jupiter are kind of opposite energies. Saturn restricts, Jupiter expands. So there was that harsh energy, but I think that those were essential years of learning, what we believe in. I think our beliefs were kind of tried and restricted, but expanded at the same time. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is that as far as the challenges of this transit, I believe that this is an important time. Very, very important that we keep the faith. If you all of a sudden start doubting something during this is the next 4 months. Another thing I meant to mention is that this planet is retrograde until July 10th. So that's 4 long, long, long months of the planet of expansion, the planet of luck, the planet of higher knowledge, the planet of philosophy in our beliefs, definitely slowing down a bit. A little bit harder to access, right? But that's why you go within, because we all have our own natal Jupiters, right? Some of you may be born when Jupiter was in retrograde. And, I read that when Jupiter is in retrograde in a person's chart, they may have a difficult time expanding. So guys, it's just time that we put in our own work. Jupiter is always here to expand. And I think we take Jupiter for granted, our beliefs are something that's so personal to us, right? That's why it's in the 9th house so we're passionate about our beliefs, we're emotional about our beliefs. Gosh, have you ever tried to bring up some kind of religious conversation with somebody, and if you don't agree, it gets crazy, right? Some of our main wars have been fought over religion, and that is so weird to say that, because Mars is currently hanging out in Sagittarius with the moon right now, and golly, religion is just, I know that it serves a good purpose or whatever, but you want to evolve into this kind of spirituality, get on board, because religion is kind of man-made. It's just so interesting that the 9th house is both the house of science and beliefs, because those two things didn't really agree back in the day. When people used to, it was either the Big Bang Theory or God, or is it evolution or Christianity, and it's like, guys, it's both. It's everything. You're supposed to expand on everything. Why do you think Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by the same planet? Because we're supposed to expand equally. Science and spirituality go hand in hand. The astrology tells it all. Pisces and Sagittarius are ruled by the same planet because we are supposed to expand equally when it comes to science and spirituality. They go hand in hand. Science, that's why I love astrology. Astrology is spiritual, astrology is scientific, astrology is factual. I mean, go outside and look at the stars. Like, they're there. The moon is here. The moon is full on the 31st. If you go outside on the 31st, guarantee the moon's going to be full in Libra. Like, science, I love mixing science and beliefs. Astrology is my calling, and I just appreciate it so much. And for this planet to be going retrograde, guys, I feel that we're going to have to put in a little bit more work. We're going to have to work a little bit harder. Things aren't just going to appear for us. We're not just going to, it's kind of necessary. It's a necessary slowing down because Jupiter wants to know who's going to stay optimistic for the next 4 months. In the next 4 months, are you going to be, do you really need help? Because listen, guys, when you truly believe in something, when you truly have faith in something, you don't need to see the end results. And that's the whole Jupiter scientific Jupiter belief. It's are you a scientist or do you believe in this? Do you need to mix these two beakers to know that they don't go well together? Are you just gonna, it's kind of it's a chance. Like, that's why Jupiter is the planet of good luck and fortune, because I just picture a scientist that literally didn't blow up in his lab because, because he was lucky and because he just has a lot of good fortune. So it's important for this planet of good fortune and luck to kind of slow down sometimes. The universe thought it was necessary for between March 8th and for July 10th for this planet to move retrograde. Our beliefs are slowing down. Our faith in things are going to be challenged. We are going to experience certain doubts, okay? But Jupiter wants to know who's going to expand these doubts. Are you going to expand beyond the doubts? Because doubts come up to show you, hey, what if it doesn't work out? You don't know. What if this step isn't real? Well, oh well, I have faith. And you know what, guys? I'm going to tell you, as a Pisces, my faith gets me places all the time. Like, it doesn't matter if I go against the physical. Like, listen, Virgo and Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, the reason why we're opposites is because, well, there has to be balance, first of all. But what I was going to say is that by nature, I go against reality because I am the opposite of Virgo. I'm the opposite of the sixth house. So as a Pisces, being co-ruled by Jupiter, being ruled by Neptune and Jupiter, it makes me a really, really weird person of belief. You ever see a Pisces believe in something? If a Pisces, you gotta be careful, because if you're a Pisces and you believe in something, it is going to happen. This is all about manifestation, you guys. How do you manifest something? Well, you believe in it. You see it happening before it happens. That's what a spiritual person will tell you. You want to align yourself with abundance? Well, then you need to behave like a person who already has abundance. It's like aligning yourself with something before it's there. That's the trick. That's the trick to the universe. How do you think we all came here? Is because something believed in it enough. Something saw it happening before it happened. And that gets me talking about visions, right? Jupiter can be the planet of vision. It's the planet of sight. It's the planet of foresight. When you talk about Pisces and Sagittarius together, it's the planet of seeing before. So you talk about deja vu, if you ever experienced deja vu, Jupiter is all that. It's about having the higher knowledge. Like, I feel that this is extremely strange territory to be talking about, but it makes sense to me. Do not doubt yourself. Do not doubt yourself. Jupiter will show you what it is that you shouldn't believe in any longer. So some of us, okay, Taurus, I'm going to use you as an example. Taurus is going through a Jupiter retrograde in their 7th house of relationships. Some of you Tauruses out there, you could have been keeping the belief in this relationship. You could have been keeping it. Oh, it's okay. I just believe we'll fix this. I just believe it. I just believe. I believe. But Jupiter goes retrograde, and some of you, not all of you, so don't freak out, Taurus. Okay, I know you guys are really loyal lovers. I have a Taurus moon, okay? But for some of you Tauruses out there, if you have had a false belief in a relationship, because sometimes we can create false beliefs. We are our own gods, right? We are made in the image of the Creator. We are in a universe. So universes create things all the time. Supernovas, dark matter, universes are infinite, right? So sometimes we expand beyond infinity. And when you expand beyond like I asked it on my Facebook post, I said, what happens when you expand beyond the expandable? Well, you are very wise and you come back knowing the unknowable. You come back, and that's exactly what it feels like talking to you guys, is that I'm explaining things that only make sense if you're able to expand. So if you guys are Mercury ruled, and I'm not saying that Mercury's closed-minded, but Mercury's more about facts. Facts and beliefs, they're different. They're kind of cousins. They kind of get along sometimes. But when a person truly believes in something, they don't need to know for sure, right? I heard that on a movie before. I heard that on some kind of movie quote or something. But that's also something that just came from me, is that when you believe in something, you don't need to read it. You don't need to see it or feel it. You just know. So as a Pisces, sometimes I literally can feel an energy around me. I'm like, I know there's an energy around me, or I know that person is going through this. And then you have people that gaslight you. So I want to mention there, be careful of gaslighting around this time. And if for those of you who don't know what gaslighting means, it's someone who's essentially manipulating you. They know what they're doing. They know that you're true. They know that you're telling the truth, and that they believe you. But they want to make you feel crazy just for the sheer fact of manipulation. Like, this is when someone knows that you're, like, you guys literally know it together. Happens in relationships a lot. Like, just like, it's like if I was talking about astrology to a person who literally believes in astrology too, but they just want to gaslight me. It's like they take your energy. No, astrology ain't real, man. Even though they read their horoscope every night, they're like, man, whatever, that shit ain't real. Yeah, okay, you're gaslighting me. Like, gaslighting is something that happens to our beliefs. And I feel that it's interesting that this is coming up, because I believe that we should be very careful of gaslighting over this time, because our planet that symbolizes our higher knowledge, well, it's going to be harder to reach, you guys. That's what Jupiter retrograde means. It's going to be a little bit harder to reach. And, that brings up the ultimate test of who is really going to be about it, who's going to still be doing this, So I'm going to talk to you guys all about the different areas. I'm going to go through all the 12 signs in the videos and talk about the areas that this is happening individually for you, for Aries, for Taurus, for Gemini, for Cancer, and So this is happening in opposites for all of us, and I'm going to just talk a little bit about the houses that this is happening in. Right? For Aries, this is happening in their 8th house. For Taurus, this is happening in their 7th house. Gemini, their 6th house. So those energies mean different things, and we can kind of hone in and talk about this a little bit more. So that'll be a little bit more clear to you guys, because this is a time where our sight can be a bit blurred. Now, it's so interesting that this happened in Pisces season, where, our emotional beliefs are coming up, where completions are happening. I'm telling you, this happened for a reason, for Jupiter to go retrograde in Pisces season. Our faith is going to be tested and tried, okay? Jupiter is moving backwards and slowing down, so that we have to put in more work when it comes to what we believe, okay? And it's important that we stay optimistic and energetically hopeful about this, because this is like a dissipating faith. Our faith is going to be a little bit, it's to test people. Do you believe in this because you have proof? Or then there's the real ones that believe because they feel it. They believe because, see, there's two different kinds of belief. Some of us believe things because it's what we've been shown and taught our whole life. Some of us believe things because it's what we've saw. It's because it's what we, but I'm saying there's other things that you believe in your heart and soul that you really have no knowledge. And that's interesting that Jupiter is the planet of beliefs and higher knowledge. Those two things are that's a dangerous combination, because unless you look at it in a way like your knowledge comes from a higher source. Because, see, people don't understand that knowledge isn't factual. Knowledge is just what a person knows. We can bring knowledge with us from 7 lifetimes ago. And maybe in this lifetime, that knowledge isn't here. Maybe some of us are from different planets, and what we know is not factual here. But how does that mean that it's not factual in another area? Does it mean that it's not factual in another realm? Because in the dream realm, I can be at 7 places at once. But here, matter and gravity and shit doesn't work like that. So you want to be careful of what you think is facts, because facts leave no room for possibilities. So, when we step into this place of doubt, which I believe some of us are going to be challenged with, this place of doubt, this place of fear, now that Jupiter is a little bit invisible, now that Jupiter is harder to reach, farther away from us, moving backwards, you want to be careful when you're dealing with these doubts. You want to ask yourself why, because doubts are what we believe easiest in. Isn't that crazy? Our fears are what we believe the most. The negativity, you ever realize that we believe the negative things that people say about us? It's easier to believe the negative things that people say than it is to believe the positive things. And that's coming up now, guys, in this video, because Jupiter is literally bringing this all to the forefront. What are our doubts? What are our beliefs? What is the relationship between those two things, and why? Is there any kind of higher knowledge that we can gain from it? Is there a wiser approach that we can take, or something more that we can learn? Now, something I haven't mentioned yet, guys, well, I've mentioned it a little bit with the whole Back to the Future thing. It's going to be trippy. It's going to be trippy because this isn't like Mercury. Mercury goes backwards and it's literally a blast from the past. But since this is such an expansive planet, Jupiter is moving back into our past, not only to, go over, and this is it. Jupiter is going to cover areas over the last 4 or 5 years. Anything that you've, developed a belief in or developed faith in over the past 4 or 5 years, Jupiter is going to go back in time and show you it from a different angle. It's going to expand it for you. So that's why Jupiter is such a badass planet that even when it travels retrograde, it's expansive still. It's even more expansive, honestly. Its influence is even more expansive because it's almost like a parent that chills out, and lets this kid, I picture a baby walking and kind of falling down and that parent's right there to catch him, right? Oh, it's okay. How's that kid ever going to believe in itself? So Jupiter is kind of like our crutches, but you should never have a crutch when it comes to your belief. You should just be able to walk. You should just have faith. You should just try and keep faith, because faith will get you a long way, guys. And it's all about these doubts that we have, and these doubts are going to come up in different areas. We're going to cover that in the personal videos. So Jupiter's traveling back into the past, you guys. And that when our parent, we're walking on our own now. We're these 3-year-olds or however old we are when we start walking, and, we want to do it ourselves, and it's time to prove ourselves to the universe that we do believe in what we believe in, and that our beliefs are an expansion of us. They are an ascension of us. We are evolving and ascending. We are ascending, and our beliefs either help us grow or they diminish us. I know, and it's none of my business, but some people believe in certain things that, our beliefs are powerful over us. What we believe shapes us. What we believe is what we base our entire life off of. Why do you think this is the biggest planet of the solar system? It has a lot of influence over our lives. So you want to ask yourself, most importantly, if this confused you, ask yourself what it is you believe in and what got you there. Do you believe in it because it was taught to you? Do you believe in it because you want to pay attention to the answer? Why do I believe in this? Why do I have faith in this person, place, or thing? And the answer to that is going to be essentially what ascends you. You're going to be a lot wiser when you ask yourself these questions. Why is it that I need to see where I'm going? Doesn't that kind of, it makes the journey pointless, right? Sometimes you can't see what's up ahead and you just have to carry on and walk on your own and have faith in the journey, have faith in the universe, have faith in yourself, have faith in your own strength. These things are coming up, you guys, because Jupiter is slowing down. And, like I said, our faith and beliefs will be challenged by doubt and by fear. And you want to look out for gaslighting too. I believe that we are going backwards in time. Our higher minds are pausing and going backwards to expand on what we may have missed, We're going backwards to gain wisdom. And Jupiter is going in these certain areas because we need to grow. Some of these areas that we need growth in need more time. It's very important. These things are very important that we could have missed. Jupiter can be so expansive sometimes that we could expand beyond things that we could have learned a little bit more about. That's the only thing about, science and beliefs, is that we expand and we learn more and we learn more and we learn more, and more of the puzzle comes together. And there may have been something that we missed. So I love retrogrades and I embrace retrogrades because there's obviously something that the universe is trying to show us from the past, or it's not necessarily the past, it's just something that's not in front of us on the journey. There's Jupiter says that there is something behind us that we overlooked. There's something that we can learn from our past. There's something we can learn from what has already occurred, and it's time to look at that in a different way. It's time to look at that. We've grown a lot, over the past years. So it's time to take who we are now and who we are because of these beliefs and because of our faith, and look at this in a different way, because we're not the same people, so we're not going to be looking at it in the same perspective. Our perspective has been expanded. Our knowledge, we know more, we see more, we believe in different things. I bet our beliefs have changed. If you think about what you believed as a child, Santa, do you guys still believe in Santa Claus? Because, I'm sorry, Santa, but I have not gotten any presents, and I don't, holidays or whatever they are, but, that's just an example. Do you believe in the Tooth Fairy still? So it's so interesting that our belief is ruled by a mutable fire sign and a mutable water sign, because our feelings change a lot. The fact that Jupiter is ruled by mutable planets, it just goes to show you that our beliefs change out throughout life. Our philosophy, our higher knowledge, it has to be something that can change. Because think about it. Think of think of Jupiter was ruled, and that's interesting. Mercury is also ruled by mutable signs, Gemini and Virgo, because what we think often changes. And it's interesting to think about Mercury and Jupiter together, because our lower mind and our higher mind, our thoughts and our beliefs kind of mix together. They're friends a little bit. So our beliefs are essentially shaped by around what we think and what we believe, what we think and what we believe, what we believe we think, what we think we believe. Okay? Astrology, man, it's wild. And it makes sense if you just take a minute and just kind of look at these things, take some time to discuss these things, these different energies. It's interesting that Jupiter is ruled by a mutable energy. And that just goes to show you that what we believe changes and it mutates over time. And you want to be careful, because sometimes that's a negative thing. Sometimes others can impose our beliefs. Sometimes others impose their beliefs on us, right? You have those people that, and I don't disrespect any of these religions, but I don't feel a positive energy from anybody who tries to force a belief on you. Jupiter is not about forcing anything. It's about the natural expansion of things. You ever have a really deep, expansive conversation with somebody, and even if you believe in different things, you still learn? That's what Jupiter is about. Jupiter is so expansive that you can disagree. You can move backwards. You can go back to the past and look at something differently without the harsh feelings, without a war. We do have Mars and Sagittarius and stuff like that. But what we believe in, it shouldn't add aggression. It should happen naturally. Our beliefs, guys, if you're wondering, well, what do I believe? What is my faith? Some people find themselves troubled when they don't have a religion. When they don't believe in something, it's like, you believe in something. Some of you are agnostic. Some people believe in many different things. I believe in everything. I believe that if there's a human somewhere thinking it, that somewhere it exists. So I wouldn't worry too much about your beliefs changing, but more so them just evolving into something that is a more accurate depiction of your life now. It's important that what we believe in over time, there's 1-year-old us and 2-year-old us and 21-year-old us and 67-year-old us. And if we take those different points of our lives, what we believe in is different. It might stay the same, but it might change. A lot of us feel like what we believe in should stay the same forever, but no. What we believe in, the human experience is all about expansion. It's all about growing and expanding and ascending. We came here to ascend. We came here to experience growth and lessons and karma and energy. And guys, I just feel like this is a time for us to look at all that in just a little bit different of a way. And I promise you, come July, over the next few months, we're really going to be expanding in different areas of our lives, and it's for the better. It's because we needed a little bit more time. There's something in the past, something behind us that Jupiter is going to expand. Okay? And, this is happening all in our eighth house. So it may happen beneath the surface. It may happen a little bit secretive like. It may happen intimately, because Jupiter's in Scorpio. Jupiter's going to be in Scorpio until next year. So when Jupiter is in the eighth house, it expands in an intimate way. It expands at an emotional level. It expands at an intensity. It's, this is really, really rocking awesome, you guys. It's pretty awesome. So this is what I think about Jupiter retrograde. I do hope that this information was kind of cool, and this is just what I think. This is just what my mind came up with today. There's always more to say, and I'm gonna save that for your individual videos. Those are gonna be like 10 minutes or so, guys, or maybe 15-20 minutes long, so that these videos can be about an hour long altogether. So that's what I have for you, and this is Jupiter, you guys. Jupiter's retrograde, and this is what I think it's gonna, these are the energies that I believe it. This is what I think, I guess, and we can expand a little bit further on that in your individual videos, where I can talk to the individual sign, a little bit more about the actual house that it's expanding. Now, as far as your natal charts, hit me up. We can talk about what Jupiter means in certain houses, but this is general. In general for Gemini, in general for Pisces, in general for Aries, all these different signs, okay? So, hey Jupiter, thanks for going retrograde, bud. Let's see what you got. Expand us. All right, guys, I will talk to you in the videos for your individual sign. See ya. Hi, Virgo. This is the Jupiter video. I'm going to sit down and talk to you a little bit about Jupiter in the third house. Jupiter has gone retrograde. So me and Jupiter are here to kind of talk about what that could mean for you over the next 4 months. This is happening over the next 4 months. And Virgo, this is happening in your third house of communication. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit like I said to Gemini. Because in the Gemini video, I was in the beginning of it anyway, I talked a little bit about how Mercury, I said this in my intro video too, that Mercury is kind of the opposite energy of Jupiter, especially in astrology, because we have Mercury, the lower mind, and then we have Jupiter, the higher mind of expansion and philosophy and everything like that. Now, isn't it interesting that Virgo and Gemini are opposite Sagittarius and Pisces on the zodiac wheel? Maybe there's a reason for that, right? So what I was telling Gemini is that since you and Gemini, Virgo and Gemini, are ruled by Mercury. So Mercury has everything to do, and by the way, Mercury is going to be going retrograde too on the 22nd this month. So you guys know all about that, and you want to be careful when it comes to your mind and your mental foundation. Virgos are very mentally ruled people. You guys have very strong mental capacity, and I don't want to speak for all of you because there's lots of different Virgos out there, but all the Virgos in my life have openly expressed to me that communication is something that, it's not one of their strong suits. And I think it's because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Gemini is an air sign, so they really have the communication sector down. But you want to know something, Virgo? Is something that you do have that Gemini doesn't have is the grounding. If you ever notice, a Gemini is just off the wall when they talk, right? Like and I don't mind that. I'm not trying to talk bad about Gemini, but Geminis can be all over the place when they talk, right? It's because they're an air sign. Like air goes every way. Air is all around us, but we can't see it. So that's how a conversation is with a Gemini, is like the conversation is all over the place, and I really don't see, if they're not an enlightened Gemini. Some Geminis use that Mercury to really clearly communicate. But it's interesting to kind of see that Gemini can communicate very well, but they don't really ground their words. Virgo cannot really communicate very well, but they are at least come from a place of grounding. So that's just something to keep in mind, because we're talking about the third house. See, Scorpio is the third house of Virgo. And if you ever wondered why, as a Virgo, I don't know about you guys, but all the Virgos that I know, they don't talk very much. It's more about, they express themselves through physical activity. If you want to know how a Virgo feels or what they're trying to communicate to you, well, then it'd be wise to look at what they're physically doing. What their physical, it's like body language. Virgo communicates through body language, kind of. So, you have to be really wise. You have to look at this from a higher point of view to really understand. Virgos are very deep people too. You guys are the sixth house. So when it comes to your third house, though, Scorpio is your third house. And what I was going to say is that the reason why Virgo is very secretive, the throat chakra. There's something with the throat chakra with Virgo. So if you're a Virgo watching this and you can relate to that, like a lot of the Virgos I know, they struggle with words. They struggle, and I'm wondering why. You guys are ruled by Mercury. Well, you're not an air sign. You're an earth sign, and all earth signs can be kind of quiet and distant. You're more about grounded communication. Virgos have to feel grounded in order for them to communicate. If they don't feel grounded, if it's too emotional, if it's too all over the place, well, they're just going to stare off. Like, they're not going to feel like they're safe enough to communicate what's going on in that mind of theirs. And let's just go ahead and say it, that Virgo is always thinking, right? So you don't even think that, I know a lot of people say Virgo thinks everyone is stupid. Well, it ain't that. It just, you guys aren't used to people being able to handle you, especially your mental. Virgo feels very mentally alone, like they think a lot of thoughts regularly. Their mind is constantly going. And from a small child, you guys have been this way since you're children. So it's like you're used to keeping those thoughts locked in. So what happens is that, your throat chakra does not express what your mind is thinking. So you just have this large village of thoughts, and those thoughts have thoughts, and those thoughts just thought another thought, and you think thoughts about those thoughts. And you guys have a very strong mind because of it, though, because you're ruled by Mercury. Well, we're talking a little bit more about Jupiter, which is the higher octave of Mercury. This is taking those thoughts, Virgo, and expanding them even higher, right? So can you imagine, and I'm not saying that you guys don't do this already, but this is happening collectively for you. So can you imagine what would happen to some of those thoughts? Just pick, and I know you have so many to pick from, like you can clock a Virgo's thinking process in 1 minute, and they would probably think of like 40 different things because their mind is just constantly going. And I've always said this, I don't believe in ADHD when it comes to a Virgo, because you guys are the embodiment of what ADHD is supposed to mean. It's not that you can't focus, it's that you focus on everything all at once. So that can have a certain effect on the human brain, right? But like I said, you guys are very mentally strong. And your third house is Scorpio, which is a very hidden realm. Scorpio is the 8th house. So, Virgo, this is all about words left unsaid. Okay, this is about words, and this is what I felt when I wrote your guys' notes down. I heard in my head, words left unsaid. When Jupiter retrogrades in your third house, it goes back in time to kind of reevaluate what it is that you believe about communication, what it is that you believe about what you've said to other people. You know how we say things sometimes that we don't believe, or we say things that we don't mean. We sometimes hear things that people, it's what you've said, Virgo, and what other people have said to you. And it's very important because you're ruled by Mercury. So words are very, very empowering. Virgo, the reason why you guys don't say a lot of things is because you understand the impact that words have on other people. So you'd rather not fuck up, right? Virgo is a very pure sign. So it's like if a Virgo communicates with you, then you better know that you're lucky and that they feel that there's some kind of purity with you, because they're not going to talk to someone. Virgos are very great at small talk, though. And you guys are kind of sometimes comfortable with small talk because you know that there's no feelings attached. You're talking about the weather. You're talking about what somebody, and it leads me to say that it's all, are you a Virgo watching this that, because a lot of the Virgos in my life, people just dump their story on, like if you ever noticed that, it could be an angel thing, it could be a Mercury thing, but people like to just really, and this is an empath thing as well. A lot of Virgos are empaths and you guys don't even know it, and you guys are physical empaths. So golly, do you feel the physical vibrations of other people's bodies? Oh, I couldn't even imagine, Virgo. Well, this is all about the communication that takes place with you, not only what you say, Virgo, but what you hear and what you say and what other people hear from you and what they say to you. It goes both ways. So it's anything that was left unsaid. So Virgo, over the next 4 months, I feel that this is going to be expansive communication for you. I think that Jupiter going retrograde is going to really help you guys learn about communication. And this is so great for Virgo. Okay, I am like collectively so happy for Virgo because Virgo is my opposite sign, and so I understand that I've had Virgos in my life always, and I've just always wanted them to talk a little bit more to me. I've always, they're my opposite sign, so I can't use the same abilities on you guys that I do everyone else. So where I have the ability to see what a Cancer or what a Capricorn is feeling, when it comes to Virgo, I fall sometimes for that hard exterior you guys put up. Even though I can feel that there's a deeper soul in there, like I just fall for it because I trust you, and I don't know, you're just such a foreign thing to me. So I think this is the time where Virgo is finally going to tap into this like expansive ability to communicate from that angelic realm. Whoa. Communicating from that realm, your guys' mind, a lot of people don't realize it, but if you like if you cracked open a Virgo's head, there is not a brain in it because it's in an angelic realm. So the knowledge that you guys have, the place that you communicate from is a very spiritual realm, and that's not something I've really ever spoke. So I can kind of use myself as an example here, like how I'm talking to Virgo right now, and a lot of things that I've never said before are coming out. I think that's a sign that things that you've never said before, Virgo, because you didn't know how, or you didn't think that it mattered, or you didn't want to expand. You know how sometimes you can say something and it's like opening up a can of worms? Well, Virgo, you guys are all about problem solving. So from this point on, the majority of your life is spent by not wanting to open up that can of worms because you guys are so analytical that if you say this, it's going to lead to this, it's going to lead to that, that's going to lead to an argument, right? Well, Virgo, it's not about that anymore. Jupiter is literally asking you to gain higher knowledge from the communication that takes place in your life, right? Higher knowledge about communication, your beliefs about communication, your beliefs about what has been said to you. So, I want to talk to you a little bit about doubt and about insecurity and about keeping the faith in certain things. I've talked to all the signs about this. When Jupiter goes retrograde, people don't know it, but Jupiter controls our beliefs. Jupiter is what allows us to believe so effortlessly in what we believe. If you ever wonder why beliefs kind of expand you and why when you learn something, you're all about knowledge too, Virgo, because you're ruled by Mercury. So if you just think about how when you learn another piece of information, you expand, right? And you can't go backwards. You can't unlearn something. It's really hard to unlearn something. But Virgo, you are being asked to unlearn what you know so far about words, because for the next 4 months, you're going to be learning really new, expansive shit about communication, things that you didn't even know. All of a sudden, Virgos everywhere are going to have a lot to say. And Virgo, over the years, you may have kept in a lot of things that you didn't want to say because it was going to start an argument or because you're a problem solver, right? So why would you want to do something that could potentially cause a problem? Well, you have to know that there's a greater plan at work here. And there's a reason why these certain transits happen. So obviously Virgos everywhere need Jupiter to go retrograde in their third house. That way you can kind of travel back into the past and gain higher knowledge about what you should have said or what you meant when you said this. Or, I think this is just going to be really expansive communication. So this means when I think of expansive communication, you could be talking to people who are far away. You could be talking to people who, through text messages or through, you could be talking to people about, well, it doesn't really matter what you're talking to them about, Virgo. It's about what you say during the conversations. It's about what you say during the communication. Virgo is really going to understand over the next 4 months how important it really is to communicate. And the reason why Virgo doesn't communicate, because the only reason we communicate, the only reason humans have a mouth and the only reason we really have communication is so that we can transfer feelings, to each other. I feel this way because, well, that, if you just stop and think about what people say and why they say it, 9 times out of 10, just like me right now, the only reason why I'm speaking right now is to relay a feeling to you, to relay what I feel. And, I'm a water sign, so even more so. Virgo, you guys are an earth sign, so it's no secret that your emotions take the back road sometimes. And I think that's why Virgo doesn't communicate a lot, because you guys are made to believe that what you feel doesn't matter, or from a very young age, you were shown negativity. Virgos grow up very fast. And I think it's time to communicate about all this, guys. I think it's time to reassess those words left unsaid for you. It's time to learn something new and to gain a wiser sense of communication. You guys are really going to be tapping in, and it's because Jupiter's in your third house. So if somebody's confused and like, what's going on with you? Well, Jupiter's in my third house, and I'm ready to speak like a philosopher. I'm ready to adventure my words. I'm ready to expand my vocabulary. I'm ready to, so some of you could really literally be expanding your vocabulary, like going to school. You guys could be, I don't know if some of you are writers or something like that, but words and communication are coming up strongly in the next four months. So what I'm going to, and I didn't even really talk about doubt and all that yet. I'm going to though. You want to be careful what you say over the next 4 months, Virgo, because I know you guys always know that what you say is ultimately manifested. Virgos are angels. Whatever you say, you ever realize that you say something negative to somebody, and then it's no wonder that they like get they trip the next day, or you say, like, what I'm saying is that there is power in a Virgo's word, and they've known that from a very small age. That power gets taken from you by doubters and haters and foes and enemies. It gets taken from Virgo. Every Virgo I know has a small throat chakra. They don't feel confident when they speak, and it doesn't matter if the Virgo talks a lot. You guys try to hide it with loud voices, but I know you don't think what you say matters. But guess what, Virgo? For the next 4 months, and actually forever, but especially over the next 4 months, what you say matters, Virgo. And people are going to be listening to you in a way that they haven't before. So if I were you, this is all about taking a risk, right? Because this is the opposite of belief. When belief travels backwards, it's very important that we keep faith. And when we take a step of faith, this is like blind faith. When you take a leap of faith without being able to see the foundation of it, without seeing the grounding of it, well, then what is that? That's taking a risk. So take a risk, Virgo, in this communication sector. Say something you've never said before. When you find yourself in a position where you're going to be quiet, no, say it. Say it. Push your throat chakra. Do some throat chakra meditations, because your throat chakra is being expanded by Jupiter right now. And it's time for you to keep the faith in your throat chakra. Keep the faith and have faith in what you say. You are an angel. What you say matters. I don't know about you, but if there was an angel in my room right now, there is. But if there, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? If this angel started to talk to me out loud, the angels don't communicate out loud. They communicate through energy. That's another thing about Virgo that nobody talks about. But angels communicate, and if an angel spoke to me, I would listen. I would fucking listen. Like, so this is about what you haven't said yet, Virgo. It's time to say it. Don't pay attention to any doubts. Pay attention to anyone that makes you feel doubt. Pay attention to any people, places, and things. If you find yourself in a situation that makes you experience doubt when it comes to what you feel, when it comes to what you want to communicate, take note of it, because Jupiter is exposing it. Jupiter is expanding your thoughts, your communication, the conversations. You're going to have a lot of expansive conversations over the next 4 months, Virgo, and I don't want them to be one-sided. Make sure that you're not listening as much as you usually do. Make sure you are talking as much as you're listening, because you angels are being called to the communication sector. And it's important for you to communicate the higher knowledge that you know. I know you think it's against heaven. I know you think that you're not supposed to communicate certain things, but for the next 4 months you are. This is a month, up until July, this is a month for you to communicate from that place of higher knowledge. Angelic communication. I'm going to write that. Angelic communication. Because it is time for you guys to communicate from that higher vibration. And I'm telling you, by July, you guys are going to be different people. You probably never thought that you could communicate this way, or that certain people would communicate. You could be talking to people, certain celebrities, certain people of higher authority. It's all about what you say right now, Virgo. For the next 4 months, your stability is going to be based off of what you say. So if I were you, I'd be singing some notes. I'd be talking. I'd be writing. I'd be communicating. This is writing. A lot of different ways to communicate. Emails, texts, all of it. You need to make sure that your words are documented and that your words are out here in the physical realm, right, Virgo? It's all about the physical realm for you. I know you're an earth sign and that your foundation matters to you, but Virgo, you have wings. If you took a jump, if you took a leap, you can fly. If the foundation disappears on you, because that's what this is about. Faith is about moving forward and not being able to see where you're going, but trusting the divine, trusting, God, whatever it is that you believe in, trusting the universe, trusting yourself, Virgo. You are walking a path with your words right now, and they're being set in stone. These words are going to be the kind of words that are written in gold. They're going to be the kind of words that linger long after they're said. And you need to operate from that kind of tongue, because that's the energy that I'm channeling for you, okay? Words left unsaid, Virgo. What is it that you want to say? Say what you want to say and make the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. So be brave, Virgo, and say what you want to say. Because I'm telling you, more important than I can even relay right now. And I wanted these videos to be a little short, Virgo. So this is what I have for you. And I pray that this was relatable. I pray that this was helpful. And if you have any questions, reach out to me and communicate, Virgo. Speak your questions, ask your questions. I would love to talk to you guys. Virgo is my opposite sign, okay? I love Virgos. I have a lot of earth energy, so, I like Virgo a lot. I've always been around Virgo. So I know a lot about you guys on a personal level. And, I just have a lot of love for you. And I want my Virgos to speak up. Speak up at your job, in your relationships, to your families, to yourself, in the mirror. There are some Virgos who don't have a voice anymore. And if you're alive watching this video, you do have a voice, and it's time that you use it. So I hope that this was helpful, Virgo, and I hope that communicating with you and, this communication that we've had together is helpful and relatable to you. Like I said, all my information is down below, and I would love to talk to you guys a little bit more. About this. But until then, I will see you in the March videos in a couple weeks, okay? Bye, Virgo!